Hey guys, let us talk about wealth for a moment. Now, the definition of wealth in the dictionary is an abundance of valuable possessions and money. Now, many people believe that the two go hand in hand, or that you can't have one without the other. Fortunately for our benefit, that simply isn't true. Wealth is completely subjective. Wealth is based exclusively on a person's appreciation of what they possess. And I want to be quite clear for a moment and suggest that you think of the word possession as having a connection to a certain person or an object, rather than having ownership over said person or object. So here are two examples. My wife is not in my possession. However, my connection and ability to engage in an activity with my wife is in my possession. My car is not in my possession, but the connection and ability to engage in an activity with my car is in my possession. One example is for a person and one example is for an object, and it works for both. Having understood that concept of possession, it is reasonable to state that in order to obtain wealth overnight, you simply have to alter the way you perceive those specific connections with people or objects. Appreciation is the key word in this video. You must learn to appreciate the connections you currently have with loved ones and with the objects you have around you, rather than focusing on the connections you don't have. Using my own life and experience as an example, I'm very driven to succeed. I want to own several businesses, I want to have a loving, supportive family, and I want to help anyone and everyone that I can with succeeding in their own lives. Because this drive and passion exists, I often look past all the great connections I have in my life right now. I often do not show appreciation where it is deserved, and this is something that is only occurring to me recently. So I'm extremely lucky that these connections have not disintegrated and disappeared. I have a beautiful, loving, caring, kind wife with a family that shows each other support in some of the darkest times. She works hard at her job, she cooks dinners, keeps the house clean when I'm out working late. And on top of that, she's also taken on the task of being the mother to our first child. Now, oftentimes I've walked in barely speaking a word because I'm so tired, so exhausted. This is an example of being completely unappreciative. I just spent my last few hours that evening working with clients, trying to be as upbeat and happy as possible. And now that I'm home, I'm just going to switch off, even though the person that should receive my upbeat and happy attitude is, of course, my wife. The least I could do is keep it up for another hour or so that I'm awake. Again, appreciation is what we need to focus on. That connection could have been lost years ago, and then where would I be today? To be honest, I don't like to think about it. Now, my own immediate family, my sister, my mother, my father, I used to take them all for granted when I was back in England. I was much younger, and so selfishness kind of comes with the territory a lot of the time. However, now that I'm a little older and over the years have taken on more and more responsibilities, I've begun to appreciate what they've all done for me, how easy they made it for me in earlier years, and how much worse things could have been. Now, when it comes to objects, I have a black-on-black Charger with a big V8 engine that other people say is a really nice car. But all I want to do is upgrade it. I want to buy a new cam, a new turbo kit, some better wheels, better suspension, new paint job. The list is endless. But there's lots of people who would be extremely happy with just the car as it is. And this is where the lack of appreciation comes in. I have to realize that what I have is more than enough. I could make do with an old reliable Civic or Corolla, 5 seats, 4 wheels and an engine that gets me from point A to point B. That's all I need. Now, think about the people and the objects in your life currently. What connections do you have? Are there connections that you couldn't imagine living without? Perhaps it's time to feed these connections with love and positivity. These connections need nurturing just like anything else if you want them to grow and improve. Appreciation is the key to wealth. It is the only thing that will ever make you feel wealthy. You always hear stories of rich men and women who simply can't be happy. And it's because they never learn to appreciate what they have. So they end up wasting their time, just looking for more and more connections, instead of building up on the ones that are already there. Now, to revert back to the original definition, an abundance of valuable possessions, If we take my suggestion of possessions meaning connections, then it's obvious that to be wealthy, we must have an abundance of valuable connections. So the fastest way to wealth is to see more value in the connections that you already have. That's what appreciation is, understanding the value in something. Begin to understand the value in your own connections and you'll begin to feel wealthy. Once you begin to feel wealthy, many of the negative thoughts, the doubts that you have about what's achievable will exit your mind, and you'll be able to see that every new connection you create will make you feel more and more positive, which of course means that you can effectively offer and spread positivity to all of those around you. So make a list of all the connections you currently have. Write down which ones that you truly appreciate and which ones that you take for granted. Then I want you to focus your effort into each connection one by one, building up the positive habit with the first connection on the list. Then once the habit is there, move on to the next. Wealth will be yours in no time. Take a look at my other videos if you haven't already. Click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and please share with your friends and family on Facebook. And have a great Easter weekend.